Once again, Meghan Sussex is making headlines, but not for anything scandalous. Unless you think dropping off homemade strawberry sauce is controversial. This week, Meghan appeared on the Jamie Kern Lima Show. She looks so amazing, beautiful, skin flawless, with no makeups on. A warm, empowering conversation between two friends.
It's just so great. This is why it's so nice to not have makeup on. Thank you. We spend so much of our life trying to prove something, to prove that you're enough. You have to prove that you're pretty enough. You have to prove that you're smart enough. You prove that you're a good wife or a good friend. And I was like, I am just so done with the prove it game.
So at one point, Jamie recalls a moment where when Meghan surprised her with a care basket during a tough time in her life, and in that basket was ice cream, strawberries, and a sweet little note. Well, that simple kindness, that simple act of kindness has now sparked a royal media frenzy from the usual suspect, the royal MAGA. Why? Because the note reportedly included the monogram with the compliments of HRH title, Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. The usual critics, the royal MAGA, they're calling it a major breach of Meghan and Harry's agreement with the late Queen Elizabeth II.
People here on Fraser Island today, it was expected that Meghan would not take part in any of the royal engagements today, but just a few minutes ago we did see them walk along this beautiful jetty here at Kingfisher Bay, and they're just up to my right at the moment greeting some of the locals and also about 100 tourists who've been lucky enough to secure a spot over here on Fraser Island for this very special event. She was joined by the Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk, who has been touring around with Prince Harry on his engagements today, and we have had a jam-packed day full of royal engagements. It started with an unveiling of a plaque for the Queen's Canopy Project, which is an initiative to try and protect and restore lush rainforests across the globe. He then went to Lake Mackenzie and also discovered some of the history of Fraser Island, particularly.
Back in 2020, the couple agreed not to use their Her Royal Highness title after stepping back from royal duties. But here's the thing. Meghan and Harry were never stripped of their title. They still hold those titles, and they were never stripped of those titles. They're just not supposed to use the HRH in an official working royal capacity. That is a subtle but important difference here. They were never stripped of the title. Never. They were not supposed to use them in an official working royal capacity. And according to the Telegraph, the usual suspect, a source close to the couple, we know that no source close to the couple would say anything like this, say the note that was shown on that show in the Jamie show, in the podcast, might be an old one. Yeah, so if it might be an old one, they're not sure. So why have this headline that says that treating this thing as a brand new scandal? That's the problem I have with it. You're not sure, but you're already treating it as if it's been used in an official capacity. I mean, would you say that Jamie's show there, podcasting, discussing their own life, that is the royal engagement? It's not a royal engagement. So why would you say that is actually a breach? But they're not engaging in any royal activity. They're just having a conversation. To be honest, if Meghan had sent a fresh note with HRH monogram, the most likely explanation could be it's an old one, it's a leftover. Not some conspiracy to reclaim royal power. Royals have no power. If royals had power, all those royals would be popular, would be famous. Any post about them would garner a lot of headlines. People would be glued to the screen. But all the headlines are with the Sussexes. They're not with the real royal, with the HRH, if you haven't noticed. I've looked at those engagement online, how much engagement the other royals get. They don't get anything, all right? Nobody's engaging with the contents of the HRH royals who are officially engaged in royal capacity, which is what the HRH is. That's why it was stripped. They were never stripped of their title. Because stripping Harry and Meghan's title, which would say, yeah, bring it on, because that means that you are actually removing the ancient culture and history of title in the royal household. That means anyone can be stripped of that title, including Prince Andrew and all of them. That means the royalness will end. They're just going to be like the subject, their own subjects, just like the everyday people. So it sounds really good when you say that. But when you realize the precedent, what that brings into that, under which circumstance would you strip people out of the title? You can strip the title. They could still use this. People can still refer them with the title. What are you going to do about it? Just like what the Ukraine Prime Minister did, send a note with an HRH, a letter with an HRH. So Meghan didn't demand it. She didn't print it. She simply, what she did was to share the message. So she can't tell people what to say. You cannot dictate what people should use which title. That's not something you can demand out of people. You can take it, but we'll still use the HRH. In fact, if you take it, more people use it. That is understanding how psychology works. If you understand psychology, if you take it, more people will use it. So why the double standard? Actually, why are you having this double standard? When Sarah Ferguson divorced from Prince Andrew, she lost her HRH, but still goes by the Duchess of York. Meghan is not divorced. They're not working royal, so they're not using the HRH for working royal. Unless you think sitting down with your friends in a podcast talking about your life, you're working as a royal, which we know it's not. But Fergu is welcome at the royal events. And also when Princess Diana lost her title, no one accused her of clinging to the title or to the status. But with Meghan, it seems any move, any word, any note, any friendship is painted as manipulative. That is the problem. This is what I'm saying. The racialization of Meghan, the painting of manipulation, yes, that racialization continues. Even with this title thing, doesn't mean anything, but here we are. Again, what really happens on that podcast was something rare. It was a genuine moment between two successful women sharing their stories of compassion. Meghan wasn't pushing a brand or a palace agenda. She was there as a friend. So let's not miss the forest for the stationery. Okay? Let's not miss the forest for the stationery. Meghan's legacy isn't about a monogram. It's about the impact she's making far from the walls of the Buckingham Palace. That is what the impact is for Meghan and her husband, Prince Harry.
I don't need to prove to you why that's your loss. Like, because I know that I'm a great friend. And I know the kind of mom I am. And I know the kind of human being I am. And I know how I show up. And I love being able to be that person with the people that I love. So, worthiness, maybe part of worthiness comes when you stop it. I am getting right now, getting out of the movement, like, it tastes like freedom.
Isn't about this monogram. So if you think Meghan's care package deserves to be applauded, an applause, not an outrage, give this video a like and hit the subscribe button. Let's keep the conversation focused on what really matters. Thank you guys. See ya.